We've done a lot of exposing lately. We've told a lot of stories. But today, this one is important. Because there's someone who has become a massive part of Ireland's forgotten voices. And that person is Michelle Smith. From the very first moment we met Michelle, she has stood side by side with us. Not for herself, not for politics, not for attention, but for the Irish people who have been failed over and over again. Michelle Smith is now, and always will be, our main speaker at Ireland's Forgotten Voices. She's fearless, she's strong, she's courageous, she's honest, and most importantly, she's one of us. She sees no division. She speaks for every Irish person who has been failed. There's no far right, no far left. There's no racism. There's no anti-this or anti-that. The only thing we are anti is anti-failure. Michelle doesn't care about titles or headlines. She cares about truth, about justice, and about standing up for those who've been left behind in a system that continues to break its own people. When she came to Leitrim County Council for our protest, she gave it her all. She shouted for the mothers sleeping in cars. She shouted for the families waiting for years in emergency accommodation. She shouted for the young girl, Charlene Sherlock, who died 5 years ago after being handed a sleeping bag instead of a roof over her head. 29 years old, 2 little babies left behind, and still no justice. Michelle Smith shouted for every single one of them. But it wasn't just Michelle. We also want to give huge thanks to every single person who showed up that day, and to those few who stood with us and bravely came inside the council building alongside us, trying to get emergency accommodation for the young mother who has been left with nothing. Your support that day meant the world, not only to us, but to that mother herself. She has personally asked us to pass on her thanks to every single person who has stood beside her. She cannot believe how much support has come from complete strangers, while those who are supposed to help have turned their backs. Her very words. Thank you so much to every single person who stood beside me, who continues to fight for me when the very people who are meant to help me have failed me. You will never understand how grateful I am for all of the help and support you have all given. And that is that mother's words from herself. And we are only getting started here. And Michelle is with us every single step of the way. This is a very small organisation right now, and we're keeping it that way because this isn't about power, this isn't about paper qualifications, this is about people with real hearts, real passion and real voices. And Michelle has all three. To anyone sitting on the sidelines, homelessness could happen to anyone, even you. Your house could burn down, you could lose your job, you could fall ill, and if that happens, ask yourself this: who will stand for you? That's why we're standing up now, while we still can. We will be announcing another peaceful protest shortly, but this time we want numbers, big numbers. We want a crowd so big that Leitrim County Council won't be able to shut its doors down this time. We want every person who says, I support you online, to show up and stand with us, not because online is not enough anymore. Please share this video everywhere. Talk about it with your friends, your family, your neighbours. Let's fill Carrick-on-Shannon and make sure they hear us this time. At the end of this video, we're attaching Michelle Smith's video from after the protest, so you can see for yourself the power she really brings. Michelle, we have your back 100%, and we're so proud to have you with us as Ireland's forgotten voices rise louder than ever before. This is only the beginning. Please share this everywhere. Help us grow, help us raise awareness, and help us make real change for our country. If you or someone you know has experienced failure or is currently being failed by any council, please email your story to homeless.leitrim.ireland@gmail.com. Together, we rise.
Hi everyone. So I'm back in Mayo after the very peaceful protest that we had today at Leitrim County Council. And I just want to say thank you to those who travelled, who came, who brought their Irish flags, who supported, those who came to say their stories, their experiences with the Leitrim County Council. So my speech is up online. There's so much more I wanted to say, but those that know me knows I don't do pen and paper. It comes from my brain and it comes from my heart. And I try and research as much as possible to try and make everybody proud, and of course not to make an absolute fool out of myself either. I need to get this message across. It's very important. So I hope I've done Ireland's Forgotten Voices and the organisers justice there. I spoke about something that was hard to speak about today, and that was a young girl who is no longer with us, called Charlene Sherlock. Now, it was brought to my attention that 5 years ago, this young girl, she went into the county council offices, and lo and behold, they had no emergency accommodation for her, and they gave her a sleeping bag. And hours later, this young girl was found just beneath the bridge in Carrick-on-Shannon. And when I was standing doing my speech today, I was looking directly at the area in which she died. There's no accountability, none whatsoever. So after we called off the protest and a few people left, a small group of us went into Leitrim County Council and we asked to speak to the lady who has been dealing with our anonymous girl's situation, and we're keeping her anonymous because she's been through enough. And a few of us stood there, and we stood for 25 minutes. We were told first the lady in question on the phone can't speak, and someone else came out and said, I've sent her a message, let her know you're here. And we said, that's okay, we'll wait. And then another man came out and said, look, we're closing now, you're going to have to go. And we said, well, we're waiting to speak to this certain person. And then the next thing, my phone rings. And Garda Síochána. Now, I gave them a courtesy call yesterday to let them know that I was coming, that I'd be speaking, that we were having a small, peaceful protest and there'd be zero trouble. So there was no need to waste resources that didn't need to be there to watch over us. I assured them nothing would happen. And the Gardaí rang me while I was inside the Leitrim County Council offices, saying, you assured us there'd be no trouble. I said, there is no trouble. We are literally trying to get this wee girl accommodation for the weekend before the bank holiday. No one gave us any inclination that they were going to ring the guards. They never gave us any inclination of how they were going to help. They didn't even listen to the young girl. This is what people are up against. It's clearly wrong. And that young girl is going to be sleeping in her car at least for 3 nights now, because it's bank holiday weekend, because the county council staff had to go home at 4:30. I didn't care if I had to stand there all evening. But the lady just didn't have time for her. And this is a problem. So that's it. It's very disheartening when you are trying to help someone and your voice is just not good enough to try and make change happen for even one person, never mind 15,000 homeless. You get deflated, you get disheartened. But look, we'd done what we said we were going to do, and hopefully this type of movement takes off. Because the marches are fantastic, they're growing, but people need to start speaking up in their own areas. They need to come up with their own figures and facts and statistics and how many homeless people and how many people are on the social housing list in their own county, and start putting pressure on the county councillors and the TDs. Dara Cleary was whisked about County Leitrim a couple of days ago because of the funding that was made available for different projects, 40 million. And, why would you want to fund projects when County Leitrim has the largest number of vacant homes in Ireland? The rents have went up 98% since COVID, and there is no options for any people to live there that are affordable. And they can whisk about a minister and pat him on the back for funding all these minuscule projects when there's a housing crisis in Ireland. Let that sink in. The last week or two, they got planning approved for a building stroke shop in Carrick, Shannon, like in a part hotel type thing with 17 units, a few residential units and a shop. I just wonder who's going to get them. Like, the Homes for All scheme was an initiative that the government sold down people's throats from 22 to 26. And Leitrim County Council built 18 homes out of 139 they were meant to. And the county councillors are going in, they are raising these issues, saying we need a minimum another 60. And it's not happening. So who's at fault? Who takes accountability? Because what I seen today was a young mother who literally had the doors locked. They locked down the building, and we had to ask a janitor type person inside to let us out. It's wrong. It's so wrong.